Protesters took to the streets of New Mexico again this weekend, and numbers of the Occupy Wall Street movement only continue to grow. Protesters marched in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Taos, and Las Cruces against what they call corporate greed. Albuquerque protests went much smoother than last weekend's, when dozens ambushed local banks and businesses, and one man was even arrested for spitting on people. Police were watching closely to make sure things didn't get out of hand this time. 3 people received citations, though. 1 person for blocking traffic and refusing to obey police. 2 others were arrested for jaywalking and blocking traffic. But in New York, it was a different story. Dozens of arrests were made during their Occupy Wall Street protests there yesterday. Thousands of protesters marched from the financial district to Times Square to make their voices heard. Roughly 1,000 people carrying signs, blowing horns, and banging drums poured into Times Square chanting, "We are the 99%. Wall Street has officially been occupied with dozens of protesters for almost a month now. The movement has gone international. Protests taking place around the world. On the so-called International Day of Action, many were arrested, and in at least one city, dozens were injured. Greg Burke has the latest from Rome.
Demonstrations spreading around the world, turning into a global movement. In Italy, a chaotic scene. Police sporting riot gear, firing tear gas and water cannons to keep these people at bay. Protesters smashing back, shattering windows, igniting cars. It started as a peaceful demonstration, speaking out against what they call corporate greed, ultimately leaving dozens of people hurt.
We've got to fight back now, otherwise we're stuffed, and we've got to show solidarity with everyone around the world.
London seeing scores of police officers rounding up protesters as well.
I am disgusted at the way this government is controlling every aspect of our lives. This is a police state gone mad.
And as night fell, the tension in London's air thickening, setting off more clashes. Demonstrators are determined to make an impact.
I'll try and stay as long as I can. Sadly, I've got to go to work on Monday. If I don't, I'll lose my job.
Tens of thousands marching in other cities. In Madrid, a crush of people making their voices heard. The conversation turning to capitalism's role in the political process in Sydney.
I think what everyone here is talking about is a change of the entire way our system works, entire way that money dominates all of our political lives.
A rally cry in Japan. Demonstrators lining the streets of Tokyo. Meanwhile, Malaysians ushering in this International Day of Action with a few moments of peaceful music. The violence here in Italy is a sign of the times, as governments in Europe try to pull their economies out of a spiraling debt crisis, and the people respond. In Rome, Greg Burke, Fox News.